Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Today, I'd like to talk about the 49ers offseason strategy. And this is the second day of free agency. The official new league year began on Wednesday, and here we are on Thursday afternoon. And the one thing that I'm kind of shocked at is that people are saying, I don't understand what the 49ers are doing. I think it's okay to say, I don't believe what they're doing is correct, or they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But to say that you don't understand their plan or that they don't have a plan, that's not accurate at all, or shouldn't be accurate at all, because their strategy could not be any more clear than if John Lynch stated what their plan was, oh, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. Because that's exactly what he did when he talked to the media at the NFL Scouting Combine in Indianapolis. So I'm just going to read you some of the comments that John Lynch made at that point. Now, this was in an interview I did with him for the 49ers Talk podcast on NBC Sports Bay Area. He said, we want to be competitive now and into the future. And if you just keep going, I love doing that, but you also have to take a step back sometimes and recalibrate. He said, our thought has always been to grow the core and you supplement around that. That's probably what we have to do a little more of this year. And he said, we need to get younger. I think we're the oldest team in football trying to make a run at the deal last year. And I think it's good to consistently get younger. Okay, so for the people who say, I don't understand what the 49ers are doing, they laid it out there. And it is very clear what the 49ers are doing. They're trying to clear future cap space so that they just don't keep pushing money into the future and then at some point just have to tear it down. And I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, it looks like they're tearing it down right now. The thing that the thing that Lynch said, though, was that they want to grow the core and supplement around it. So right now, in spite of all the people who've left, let's look at the core. The core is Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle. I'd put Brandon Ayuk in that category too because he's the one they signed to a long-term extension and a lucrative extension a year ago heading into the regular season. I'd put Trent Williams, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and because they signed him to an extension during the season and they look at him as a long-term starter, I'd put Diamador Lenore in that category. So when the 49ers made the moves that they've made, or I guess you could say didn't make the moves that they could have made, it means that they've parted ways with Kyle Juszczyk, Deebo Samuel, Javon Hargrave, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa, Hufanga. I would say with Deebo Samuel, it's 1 year left on his deal. They got something for him, albeit a fifth-round draft pick. Everybody on this channel talked about how he dropped off last year. You have Javon Hargrave coming off a big injury, wasn't going to be worth the money that they're going to pay for him. Dre Greenlaw, injuries. Talanoa, Hufanga, injuries. So all those, and Kyle Juszczyk, a position that only a few teams have anymore. Kyle Juszczyk is somebody who was an 8-time Pro Bowler in his 8 years with the 49ers. That's a tough one, but they also signaled a year ago when they asked him to take a pay cut that this was the road that they'd be going down. Now, I will say this. There are a couple of the releases that I don't understand. And by the way, there's a new one. My colleague at NBC Sports Bay Area, Jennifer Lee Chan, reports that Tabor Pepper, the long snapper, has been notified that he's being released. But the ones I don't understand, Leonard Floyd and Maliek Collins. Leonard Floyd gave the 49ers what they expected out of him in his 1 year with the team. Maliek Collins was an okay player. Both those guys played a lot of snaps on that defensive line, and now they're going to be looking for guys to take those snaps. But Leonard Floyd and Maliek Collins, both of those guys laying on their feet in a big way. Leonard Floyd, he signed a 2-year, $10 million contract with the 49ers last year. I think he made 12 of that in that first year. Well, he's released. He signs with the Falcons, 1 year, $10 million. So basically the same number that the 49ers were paying him, that's what he gets with the Falcons. By the way, I mentioned Hargrave. 49ers weren't going to keep him at the number, but he ends up going to the Vikings after he's released for 30 million over 2 years. And then Maliek Collins, 2 years, 20 million. So there was a market for those defensive linemen. 49ers just decided that they weren't going to pay those guys. So I just kind of go back to what I'm saying is that their strategy is very clear. It could not be any more clear what their strategy is as they head into this offseason or as they are in this offseason. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. We'll find out. Time will tell. I mean, it could end up being the best thing they did was this recalibrate or reset of the roster that John Lynch was talking about. If they go back to playing at a high level, and by the way, I was surprised I was on KNBR on Thursday morning and was told that they're the betting favorites to win the NFC West in Vegas. That surprises me a lot. Or if they play well, they reset, they get some great draft picks who come in and play some good football, and they have a lot of draft picks this year. They're going to have more draft picks next year because of the compensatory formula. But let's also realize that it could be a disaster, right? And I think a lot of the fans out there who are upset that the 49ers, after last year spending the most of any team in the NFL, right now, 2 days in, they're spending the least amount of any team in the NFL. Now, that might rise if they sign Brock Purdy to the long-term extension and pay him a lot of upfront money. But I guess to me, the bigger disaster was going 6-11 last season and finishing not only in last place, but 2 games behind the third place team in the division, the Arizona Cardinals. So that was a disaster too. And if they had tried to just run it back with the same players, I thought that they would probably to a greater degree, but I also didn't expect them to go out and pay big money to get one of the high price players or one of the more higher price players at anyone's particular position. I think they're relying on the pipeline of developing some of the young guys to take the spots of some of the departing players and the first 4 picks of that draft. Maybe even throw Tatum Bethune in there, who's a linebacker who might get some run this coming season. But you look at the first 4 draft picks for the 49ers in 2024, Ricky Pearsall, Renardo Green, Dominic Pooney, and Malik Mustafa. The 49ers need those guys to start, and they need them to produce, and they need this rookie draft class to come in and produce. They need 2 starting caliber defensive linemen probably out of this draft, and they might be able to find them. But they just need to get younger, which was a stated goal. So here's the off season. You ready for this? The off season comings and goings, and I'll post it down below in the summary of this video. Let's start with the goings. Kyle Juszczyk, Leonard Floyd, Javon Hargrave, Maliek Collins, Deebo Samuel, Dre Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, Aaron Banks, Talanoa, Hufanga, Jaylon Moore. Isaac Yiadom re-signs with the Saints. He goes back. He was the number 3 cornerback for the 49ers last year. Joshua Dobbs, Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Allen, Tabor Pepper, and John Feliciano retires. Now, as far as the comings, here's the latest list that I've seen anyway. I've been kind of out of pocket a little bit today, but Mac Jones, and I spoke a lot about him last night after news broke that he'd be signing with the 49ers to become the backup quarterback. So the comings are Mac Jones, cornerback Tre Brown from Seattle, wide receiver Demarcus Robinson from the Rams, safety Jason Pinnock from the Giants, tight end Luke Farrell from Jacksonville, safety Richie Grant from the Falcons, linebacker Luke Gifford from the Titans, and then a week or so ago they claimed off waivers cornerback Tre Tomlinson, who the Rams had released. So, it's going to be an uphill fight for him to make the team. But basically, the only guys, there aren't very many names on that list that's going to get you excited because you probably, unless you're a hardcore fan, maybe the only guys, certainly one guy you would recognize off that list is Mac Jones, maybe Demarcus Robinson, the wide receiver Maybe if you're really into it, Luke Farrell, maybe Richie Grant because he was I believe, a second round draft pick 4 years ago with the Falcons. But the guys who are staying at this point that we know of, not just the guys who were the restricted, I'm sorry, exclusive rights free agents, those young guys, but the guys who are staying right now, Kevin Givens, Curtis Robinson, Jordan Mason, the 49ers tendered him at a second round level. The running back, Patrick Taylor. So, and Ben Barch. Ben Barch could be in line for a starting job taking over for Aaron Banks. So my point was because a lot of people said, "What are they doing? It's unfathomable what they're doing. They have no plan." No, folks, they have a plan. But again, is it a good plan or not? That's the question. Their plan is to shave money, create money for the future. Their plan is to get younger. Their plan is to get a whole bunch of draft picks like rookies, get younger, get draft picks who come in and can contribute and kind of start this next cycle of 49ers football. Because there's one thing that was, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but when the 49ers were a Super Bowl team, the 2019 season, the next time they were a Super Bowl team after the 2023 season, there was a lot of switchover, and only a few of the core players remained in big time starting roles from 19 to 23. And now already that starting lineup on both sides of the ball on the 23 team, that's going to look a lot different than where the 49ers are going to start the 2025 season. So that's my take on it. Let me know what you say. Well, let me know what you think. And appreciate you for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like I said, leave a comment down below. And that is it for now.